Welcome to The Bone, the podcast that goes deeper. Here we cut through the noise and get straight to the core of the issues that matter. From real stories to raw truths, we dive deep into the conversations that shape our world and challenge our thinking. We're not afraid to dig in and get to the marrow of it all. Whether it's life, culture, or business in sports medicine, we're here to break it down raw and real. No filters, no fluff, just to the bone. With your host, Shelby Daly, we're getting to the bone. This is a clinically pressed, approved CEU podcast. Find the quiz to gain credit at clinicallypressed.org/courses. Clinically Pressed Company, making the complicated simple through results that give back. Find out more at clinicallypressed.org. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Bone. Today we have Shannon Fleming and Heather Collins from the Board of Certification for Athletic Trainers. And today we're going to talk about the CPC Pathfinder, as there has been a lot of questions and inquiries on how this is all supposed to work since we just implemented it at the end of January when we all renewed our certifications. So we're going to talk about the different paths, how that's going to look going forward, what changes might be happening, and answer some of the questions many athletic trainers may have about this program. So welcome to the show, Shannon and Heather. So for those who may not be familiar, can you guys briefly explain the CPC again and what is the reason behind this and compared to old recertifications processes?
Sure. I can take that one, Heather. So CPC renewal is what we're calling it, and CPC stands for Continuing Professional Certification. It is powered by a new piece of technology or platform called Pathfinder. And it is just a modern approach to continuing education where it's meant to help athletic trainers be more focused, more intentional about selecting their continuing education and their professional development opportunities to make them more meaningful and personalized and more efficient for ATs. So it's really not about, like I say, it's not necessarily about collecting CEUs, but more about connecting with the CE opportunities that they're choosing to take based on goals that they might have, career paths that they're taking, that sort of thing. So, Heather, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm just really excited about the opportunity and the new option. I think it's an area of growth for the BOC. It's been exciting.
So we all just renewed our certifications at the end of January. And so this popped up on your portal of the CPC Pathfinder option, or there's I think it's called the Legacy. Is that correct? So the way that we're used to uploading CEUs. So can we outline the requirements and structures of this new CPC renewal?
Yeah, sure. So the legacy renewal is essentially what you've been doing for the past several years. That is 50 CEUs that you're required to obtain, and there are category requirements. Those have not changed. Those have not changed for either path. You still have category A through D, and you still need 10 category A CEUs. So that part has not changed. It's just the number. And so then the CPC renewal path, there are 40 CEUs that are required, along with ongoing engagement with Pathfinder, which we've included. If you're certified prior to 2026, you need to create 2 goals. You need to do the Pathfinder questions, the challenge questions, every segment, which there are 15 questions every segment, and the segment is 3 months long. And then you need to add or pin 2 learning activities to your learning path. So that's what the requirements are. You still record your CEUs on your CE form, just like you did last reporting period. It's just that you record 40 CEUs and not 50 CEUs if you stay in CPC renewal.
Okay. And then, so this is a more focused avenue of getting your CEUs picked out, how to enhance your clinical skills as an athletic trainer. So how is this addressing those different enhancements that athletic trainers are going to be concentrated on doing the Pathfinder CPC renewal?
So if I understand the question, it's really about taking charge of your own professional development and creating a path that aligns with where you are in your career, where you are in your position, and what your goals are. Really, the first thing that everyone should be doing in Pathfinder is creating those goals, because they do drive everything else. You can always change your goals, because we know life happens. You can delete a goal, you can modify a goal, but those are what drive everything else, right? You could maybe discover from the challenge questions that you have an unknown gap and decide that you want to create a goal based on that. You can add a goal, right? But you do have to, at the end of it, you do have to have 2 goals created in the Pathfinder tool. So it's really about what you want. I mean, like anything in life, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. And if the tool is used the way it's intended, it could really be a powerful thing to help people select their continuing education.
Would you suggest that an athletic trainer should pair this with their employer's performance evaluation, or where maybe their clinical future may be going, or should this keep individualized to the athletic trainer and their goals?
You want me to? I can
Go ahead.
tackle that. So it's up to them, right? If it is meant to be a personal tool, however, if it can help someone with their employer, it would be up to the athletic trainer to share it. And some people might use it as a way to share additional data, share intentionality, share planning, share their goal work and their support with their professional board. Or they could use it personally. It's their choice. It's their choice. Yeah.
Okay. So now that segment 1 is kind of wrapping up, what are you guys most proud of in terms of progress with this initiative?
There's a
Yeah.
lot to be proud of. Yeah.
Go ahead, Heather.
Oh, it's been a really wonderful thing. We're proud of the rollout. We're proud of the launch, and that it's launched to this scale and been made available to all athletic trainers. I think that's really wonderful. And it's working and going and receiving some positive feedback. So we're excited. I'm excited. But
Yeah, I think the level of engagement has been really nice to see. And, I think one of the things I get a kick out of is hearing the stories of people say, gosh, I was totally against this product. I was going to opt out, and then I got into it and I love it. I have heard that on more than one occasion. I was recently at the District 3 meeting in North Carolina this past weekend, and I had people come up and say, gosh, I opted out a little prematurely. Can I get back in? And so we said, of course you can. So I think the product itself is surprising people. And I love that.
Yeah. So what are the key milestones and deliverables achieved during this phase that you guys are in? After phase 1 has been implemented, what's going on right now with phase 2?
Yeah, so right now, we did have a 1 week grace period for those who did not complete segment 1. So there is still time to do segment 1, and we are getting that it's taking people 30 minutes or less to do the 15 items. And so we're in that phase, but then we've also launched segment 2 questions, and folks are already getting in there and completing those. So we're kind of in that in-between stage where we still have a few people who want to stay in it, and we're giving them that little bit of grace. And they have until Thursday to complete the first segment. And then we've got people who have already completed the first segment, and they're on to the second segment. So that's where we are right now.
So May 7th is the last day to get the first part of your Pathfinder done.
Correct.
Are you guys looking, so what, that's about 2 months, 2-ish, 3 months after the recertification period to kind of get this Pathfinder questioning done, correct? And is that what the outlook future Pathfinder recertification periods are going to look like?
Right. So each segment, so there's 8 segments in a renewal cycle, and each segment is 3 months long.
Okay.
So because we changed the deadline to January 31st, we couldn't say quarters because now we're no longer on a quarter system. So it's still 3 months long like a quarter, but it's just a month off. So.
And then, so were there any surprises or things that you weren't expecting? I mean, you guys said that there's a little bit of pushback and people are starting to really buy into it. What were some of the things that you've seen in the rollout from, let's say, about December to now from the athletic trainers?
Well, one of the things that I think is surprising is when we hear people that say that they're just learning about CPC. And that's an opportunity for us to share good news and communicate about Pathfinder. But that's been something we've been working really hard to share information about over time. That's one thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Is we did announce this Pathfinder CPC renewal back in, I believe it was July, August of last year. And so unfortunately, there are just some people that did not get the message. And so those are the folks that are getting caught off guard. But we're communicating with them as we receive those, and hopefully they're getting into it and enjoying what they see. So
yeah. What are some of the biggest insights you've learned about how athletic trainers engage with continuing education? Obviously, you guys pushed back the renewal to January 31st this year, and I think there were still people sliding into that midnight and January, the last day of January. How are you guys reading that with all the different changes that are going on?
Yeah, so there's, I think it wasn't necessarily time that was our biggest barrier, but really just an understanding of how it was going to work. So I don't think people are against the concept by any means. I just think they just needed a little bit more clarity and assistance into getting onboarded, hence the mini videos that we've created, right? So we've got the video where everyone has to review it. Even if you opt out, you have to review the video that shows you how to get started. We've got a video for the learning path, because that was one area that even from the pilot, we knew people were, I don't want to say misunderstanding, but needing a little bit more clarity on what that meant for them. So, I think really it's just getting the point across that we're really wanting to just make more their continuing education journeys more meaningful for them.
Yeah. I think it's I think people get confused with like employer feedback and those types of things, that those are very make or break sometimes when you're trying to get feedback or create pathways, and it's very cumbersome. Where I think this one, you were saying it's about 30 minutes and you just need to be kind of reflective of where you want to be, 2 years from now when you recertify. So I think maybe that's one of the stigmas going with it, is it's another thing I have to do that's going to take a lot of time and attention, when you should already kind of know where you want to go and be. And it gives you a little bit more insights of maybe some of your weaknesses, your strengths, some of the things you need to pay more attention to when you're picking out your continuing education or professional development. With the information that you guys are collecting from the Pathfinder, do you guys get to see some of the insights of maybe where, I don't want to say that they're weaknesses, but some of the commonalities of where athletic trainers might be struggling, I guess, or maybe they're where they need improvement in their clinical not clinical education, their continuing education, professional development? Or is this all kept just to the athletic trainers and you guys don't get any of that information?
Yeah, well, it varies widely, right? And it's a personalized platform, so the needs are based on, and everybody's learning awareness dashboard is going to look different. To your comment about trends, we did publish a paper in the AP update. And we talked about some of the the trends that athletic trainers had shown us in the pins that they had created for continuing education opportunities. And we published those so that approved providers could see that, there were interests, there was a top 10 list, there was a list of themes that had come forward of desired areas of engagement. So we had seen that and we shared that information. But for, it's going to be all over the board and vary for each athletic trainer as that works. Yeah.
So with the trends, this is obviously still kind of the first year, but what can you kind of pull from the trends that may give us a glimpse of what the future of athletic training might look like?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And we just don't have enough data right now to even answer that question. But we will use the data in aggregate to, I think help our approved providers understand our athletic trainers more, so that they're creating programs that are relevant and wanted by athletic trainers. But it also could show, I don't know, pure speculation, but as an example, like maybe the data shows that there's a gap in a certain area that is vital for athletic trainers to know in their clinical practice. And so maybe then, there's something created to close that gap, whether that's a requirement in a recertification down the road, or whether that's, something that, again, we share with approved providers to help us close that gap. But, I think it could be used in a tool like that, where it's showing us potential gaps, but it could also be, identify maybe where our practice analysis might take us in the future as well. If we're seeing new types of practice being put in as goals of people wanting to learn. So I think it could be endless, the possibilities there on what we could learn from this information. I just think it's a little premature for us to identify what that might look like.
Yeah. So what happens if we get to 2 years from now and people are finalizing their units, they're submitting them, and none of them really match with their goals? Is there going to be any feedback on that? Not that it's a pass fail, obviously, kind of thing, but what would that look like in 2 years when somebody turns in their units and it doesn't match anything from their goals that they set today?
Well, we aren't tracking that. So we're just providing a foundation, a structure, and feedback, and a platform for people to be thoughtful and intentional. And we're helping them to find the needles in the haystack, those really relevant courses. And if it happens and we want it all to come together, we want it to be able to work for them, but we're not doing any sort of check. There is no requirement that what you put on your learning awareness or your learning path is exactly what you report in the CEs. I'm sure there's going to be discrepancy for everyone in some way or another. And the important thing is that we're moving in that direction. We're thinking about it. We're planning. We're preparing. And if it can be useful, terrific. That's what we would like. It's very positive. It's very positive. It's not a checklist like that.
And then right now there's obviously a lot of talk on social media, feedback on how the Pathfinder is going for individuals. How are you guys, where should people submit their feedback, and what are you guys doing with that feedback going forward?
Yeah, so we've received emails and some phone calls and inquiries through the system, and we respond to all of them. And so that's our preference, is that they contact us directly. We're happy to answer questions and to listen to feedback. We just prefer it, that they contact us directly. And social media is great if you're spreading that it's, wonderful, and you're trying to inspire others to do the same. It's just a little counterproductive if we're not able to help people who are maybe not having the experience that they have expected. So
Yeah, I would definitely say you guys are very responsive and personalized when you guys respond to emails or phone calls. It's been interesting watching it on social media, and it's like, well, you should probably directly contact BOC because they're not sitting on social media trying to catch all these inquiries or questions or possibly roadblocks that you might be experiencing while trying to do this. It's still a new program, so it should be directed to the person that's facilitating it. And BOC website has all the information you need to contact and get connected with somebody to ask these questions, or just to get clarity on what is expected of you or from the Pathfinder for your professional development. So this is still the first kind of real phase of it coming out. Do you guys see any potential changes going forward? We talked a little bit more about clarity. I think it's just talking about it like on the podcast right now and just explaining, what it's supposed to be doing. It's not a high stakes program. It's really for you to help or for yourself to direct where you're going professionally. Are there possibly going to be any more additions? Is this going to expand? What's kind of the future look like for this program going forward?
Yeah. So I will say that if people are still wanting to learn more, hopefully they get something out of this podcast, but we're also hosting a webinar later this month. We'll be at NATA. We have a couple of districts left. We've been to several district meetings already. I think the ones we have left are 7 6, 7, and 8, I guess, not in that order. So we will be continuing to talk about this, but as far as like what CPC renewal will look like, maybe even next reporting period, we're going to gather all the data, right? We're still doing surveys. We're gathering, looking at the data that how people are using it. And then we will, put that into a report and give it to the board of directors. And then at that point, it will be made, something will be decided as to, do we continue on the same path? Do we modify anything within CPC renewal? Is it something that, uh, we need to change, right? So we're not ready to make any kind of decisions like that. We would like to see some data and get more feedback from those who are participating. So
Yeah. And then, so there is still the option of the legacy and the new Pathfinder CPC renewal. If somebody, for some reason, wanted to opt in or out of either or, how does that look like? We're kind of running out of time, obviously, but how will, obviously the legacy will be exactly like it was in the past, and then the renewal, there's just questions and a little bit more direction. If somebody was opting in or out, how does that look like on the website?
Well, I'd jump in and say that there's still time if anybody is interested. You have time to finish segment 1 until the 7th, and even if you don't finish segment 1, it can be used as a grace segment. You can begin in segment 2 and continue and complete all the remaining segments, and you'll stay on track, and you've kind of burned through your grace segment in that way. So we encourage you to get to use it if you need it instead, but it's there for you and you can still continue and participate. So we would love everybody to try it, to take a look, to jump in and explore and give it a go. Try something new. And so there's, and just saying there's still time. And we'd love to see you. If you have opted out and would like to get back in, just send in, just call or contact or email the office, and we can do that. We can get you back in. And it's just that simple. It's just that simple. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Well, and so there's 8 segments for the Pathfinder every 3-ish months. It's trying to keep track of where you're going and your goals that you set for yourself. There's no outside influence, obviously. It's all about you. And it's not a pass or fail type of program. It's just guidance at the end of the day. Was there anything else that we missed that we want to talk about today about the CPC? Any other information that somebody should be aware of going into this?
I would just add that there is a tool under the My Learning Path that is a database of journal articles by ProQuest. It's the Allied Health and Nursing database that we have for people who stay in Pathfinder or in CPC renewal. They will have access to that database. We, really wanted to provide athletic trainers with resources that they may not have access to. We know that there are many ATs that don't have access to a vast library of journal articles that they can receive. So we did include that as a new feature within Pathfinder. So
okay, cool. So more resources.
yes, more resources.
Perfect.
I would.
Well, oh, you go ahead, Heather.
Oh, I would just like to add that Pathfinder is part of the future of continuing professional development and continuing certification. It's the way that certifying boards and healthcare boards are moving is toward these longitudinal models where we're trying to increase personalization, relevance, and support, not in a meaningful way that is economical of time, and very supportive of each practitioner and their patients. And so we're trying to provide these options, and so I hope that people look at Pathfinder as even though we're looking to develop it and being very responsive to what the data says and how it's changing and how it's growing and how it will develop and evolve, it is a representative of the direction of continuing professional certification in that it's not some experiment that's going to go away. It's going to be part of the future and growing and helping support all athletic trainers in this new way. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure that we'll have you on again to give us another update on how it's going when you guys have more data and trends. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out to the BOC. There's contact information all over the website. Very easy to contact at the end of the day. And I wanted to thank Shannon and Heather for being on again. And I hope everybody tries out the Pathfinder and sees checks out what's it all about. So thank you so much for being on, guys.
Thanks, Shelby, for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it for today's episode of To the Bone. I hope we've sparked some new thoughts, challenged your perspectives, or simply reminded you to dig a little deeper. Remember, life isn't just about what's on the surface. Sometimes you've got to cut deeper and get to the bone of what really matters. To the Bone podcast is a product of Daily LLC. It's hosted and produced by Shelby Daly, ATC, and Randy Daly. No clinical decision-making should be based solely on one source. While care is taken to ensure accuracy, factual errors can be present. For more on the show, visit www.tothebonepodcast.com. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Get involved in the conversation.